Okay, now an important thing you need to do when you're ingesting data or trying to start your models, you need to access data from all over the world, different clouds, different systems, and you need to do that quickly because you may need to do 50, 100. There's so many different data sources that you need to train your models, add to them for RAG, for so many other things. So let's make it as easy as possible, as fast as possible, so you could be able to just be up and running and in production immediately. So the easiest way to do that is log into your Cloudera DataFlow, pick something from the Ready Flow gallery. These are flows that are ready to go. Pick what you want to do, press a button, and you're ready to start. So let's go through. Here's a couple of options. You can do Kafka to Kafka, Kafka to the OptDB, to Kudu to have your fast data store, write to S3 and have it as an Avro file, move it between S3s and change the type, add notifications, move it to ADLS, Event Hub to ADLS, Dropbox to cloud storage, to be able to move from Confluent Cloud Kafka into S3, two databases, one to the other. Have this listen as a universal REST endpoint and push whatever comes into Kafka. Take Confluent Cloud Kafka and push it to Snowflake. Get some syslogs, drop them into S3. You press the draft. Pick a workspace if you have one defined. Pick a target project if you have one. Give it a unique name so you know what you're doing. And then you just create it. It does the work for you and brings you right into an environment where you can now start finalizing and testing it. So all you need to do is we start a session so we could run it. If we want NiFi to be able to receive external data, if you need any custom code you need to add, you could do that as well. Otherwise, we'll just start it, and this will make it live for me. But I don't need it to be ready and on Kubernetes yet before I start working. I could start looking around and see what I need to change. Basically, what you're going to need to do is just set a couple parameters. Like you'd imagine, security, which is secrets. You need to set your username, passwords to access different resources. Need to set up where you're going to store this in S3 or AWS. You know, what format do you want? Do you want JSON? Do you want Avro? You know, what do you want to have in there? Pretty easy. Like, what's your username? I'm not going to put my password in right now, but that's enough. We'll apply those changes. Obviously, we need all of the values. There's a couple that we didn't put in yet. We could also, while we're up here, we could take a look at the different services, see if we need to start any. You know, these are still starting, so we'll have to wait a little bit. But then we could go through and you could get an idea how these things work. Okay, what port are they listening on? Do I need to change that? We get our syslog. How do we want to filter it? We got a writer and a reader. We could set our filter rule here. Right now there's none. This is just grab everything. You know, you might want to limit the number of rows. You might want to do a where clause. You know, that one you probably want to wait until you start getting data in before you decide. I mean, once it's finalized, then you can make your decision there. Then we could see if you wanted to change where you're going to write that. You know, right now it's writing to one of the CDP data stores, depending on which one you want there. But we could also put it somewhere else or both places. Like maybe I'll send it to Pulsar as well. Maybe to blob storage. Maybe to Accumulo. There's a lot of options. Could put it in a inbox. Oh, that's interesting. Could send it to FTP. Drop it in a Google Drive. Put it to Iceberg is a nice option. So you could do both depending on what you want to do there. And then here you're going to have to set some settings, but you know where you're working with. You'll have to set up a catalog, but pretty straightforward. And then once you've tested it and it's ready to go, you could publish to a catalog. And once it's published to a catalog, you can deploy it. And we'll publish this out, and then you could deploy it to a live system now. Obviously, you should test it first and do a lot of other work, but just to give you an idea, and you could pick, doesn't matter if it's AWS, Azure, whatever your environment is, just for example, and then it'll walk you through giving it a unique name. Picking your project, import any configuration you might have from somewhere else, so you don't have to retype things. You can decide if you want it to be able to get REST input in. That opens a single port in the firewall for you. Then you have to set in all your parameters. There's the ones that are defaulted, but you have to set a couple of parameters in here that wasn't set yet. Obviously, those aren't real, but just to give you an idea. Then you can pick your sizing. If you want auto scaling, what kind of performance you want. Then you could set your KPIs. What do you want to monitor with this? And, how many things should you have alerts when, certain things happen, how frequently, and you could do dozens of those. And then gives you this deployment. And if you want, you can go to the command line. It shows you how to do that. Or you could just deploy it right here, and you're going right to production Kubernetes.